Human digestive system. The process of digestion breaks food molecules into usable forms. If you've ever seen Nathan's hot dog eating contest, it's the grossest thing around, and I can't imagine these folks are actually digesting any of the food that they're shoving into their bodies. It's an interesting thing to watch, though. Every 4th of July. Humans get the energy and materials they need to live by eating, as opposed to the thing that plants do. The organisms that we eat are made out of those macromolecules, the organic molecules that you studied a little bit ago. They are carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. So, for example, this is a nucleic acid, and if you break this bond and this bond and this bond and this bond, you're breaking down the nucleic acid into these things, which are the monomers, the nucleotides. So you're breaking down polymers into monomers. And that is what your digestive system does. It takes a polymer of carbs or of lipids, in this case it's a polymer of nucleic acids, and breaks it down into the monomers. These molecules must be broken down into simpler substances so that we can use them. The GI tract, your stomach, intestines, the whole tract from your mouth all the way out to your butt, we can call this a disassembly line because you're taking in big molecules and breaking them into little monomers, little molecules. Nutrients become more available to the body in each step. So when you get down to the smallest one, it can be absorbed right into the blood and taken right to your cells and used for fuel or used to build something. Nutrient overview. What are the monomers or building blocks of carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids? So I want you to do the organizer in your notes while you do this. So carbohydrate digestion. We'll look at what is the polymer, what's the dimer, and what's the monomer. And we'll do that now, and then at the end we'll come back and say what is the enzyme that breaks each of these down. So the polymer for carbohydrates is a polysaccharide, and then the dimer would be a disaccharide, and then the monomer would be a monosaccharide. So again, the generic term is polymer. For carbs, the specific term is polysaccharide. The generic term is monomer. That means the term you can use whether it's carbs, lipids, whatever. But specifically for carbohydrates, the monomer is called a monosaccharide. For lipids, the lipids is sort of a tough category because things like steroids fit here, and they don't have a particular monomer or polymer. So we're going to work with triglycerides here. So if you consider triglycerides to be a polymer, they are made out of glycerol and fatty acids. So remember, a triglyceride has glycerol and 3 fatty acids. A phospholipid would have 2 fatty acids, and instead of this, it would have a phosphate group sticking up. So if you break down a triglyceride, you're getting a glycerol, that's this thing, and then 1, 2, 3 fatty acids. Remember, lipids are just lipids because they are hydrophobic, and so steroids really don't fit into this polymer monomer thing, but triglycerides do at least. Okay, protein digestion. The protein polymer could be called a protein or a polypeptide. So poly is nice because there's poly in it. Polypeptide, polymer. The dimer would be, instead of a dimer, it would be a dipeptide. And then the monomer, I really, really wish it were called a monopeptide, but it's not. It's called an amino acid. And so that's just a weird one. It's really easy for students to get amino acid confused with nucleic acid and confused with fatty acid in lipids. And so all these acids are easy to confuse, but try to remember amino acids are in proteins. Sometimes you'll see people who lift weights take amino acid drinks, which I think is sort of silly. I'd rather eat the steak in the the protein in the steak, and have my body digest it for me. But anyway, some people will do that. Nucleic acid digestion. You can call the polymer a polynucleotide, but no one does. So it's correct though, polynucleotide. But what everyone just calls them is nucleic acid. And then I'm not going to give you a dimer, but the monomers would be called nucleotides. And then your body does one extra thing with these. It actually breaks it up into the things that make up the monomers because these monomers are so complex. So that gets broken into sugar, phosphate, and base.
Wait, so does it get broken up into like carbon and stuff, or?
No, it doesn't go down that far because let's go backwards a second here. So your body can use amino acids directly. You can use those for energy. And at that point, if you're going to use them for energy, then you would break them down into their elements. But you could just take amino acids and start to build your body, like your muscles or your hair or the collagen in your skin. Same thing here. You'll take the sugar, phosphate, and base. You'll either...
So are nucleotides not true monomers then?
Um, it's a complex monomer, so...
Oh, you mean like the one with like 4 ones that you showed earlier?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw this part or not.
No,
There's
I
sugar.
think I was here for that.
There's a... Whoops, I'm kind of drawing them. Stop. I hate when it does this. Go. What does that mean?
No,
Just kidding. Next. Okay, at least I can get out of it. Every once in a while I click on something. I think I usually put the phosphate the other way, but whatever. It's okay. So here's the base, and sometimes it's a double thingy, whatever. So here's the base. So nucleotide is made out of a sugar, a phosphate, and a base, and that is the monomer because it's the thing that repeats over and over again.
Ah, I see.
But it is a complex one because it's made out of these three things, and that's not true for any of the others.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, your body can just use the sugar, phosphate, and base directly to make new nucleotides, or it can break them down for energy. Same thing with the stuff before. Oh man, we have to go way further back. So with carbs, you can use the monosaccharides and break them down into their, well, actually, what you would do with a monosaccharide, you would say C6H12O6. David, see if you can figure this one out. We're adding oxygen to this, and you're breaking this thing. The carbon becomes carbon dioxide.
That's
And
glucose.
this thing is glucose, which is a monosaccharide,
Mm-hmm.
and H2O. And of course, you're going to get energy out of this also called ATP. So what process is that?
That is aerobic respiration.
Yeah, cellular respiration, aerobic cellular respiration. Beautiful. So you can take these monosaccharides that you made, and this is one of the monosaccharides.
A lot of people think that plants don't do that process too.
He's so good, isn't he? He's mine. So, can they hear you, you think?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. To get you a chair next time. So anyway, you can take these monosaccharides and break them down into carbon dioxide and water. That's your energy. Or you can take monosaccharides, the glucose, and put them together and make glycogen, for example. All right. To go through these
I
again.
bet that's probably what the next thing was for. In the clicking that you did.
No. We're just talking about digestion right now.
No. I mean, like when you accidentally did that glitch earlier.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, digestion involves enzyme-controlled hydrolysis reactions, which use water to break down these molecules. So remember hydrolysis, you use water and lysis to break. So if you have two glucose molecules and they are linked together in a disaccharide, you would use an enzyme to break this apart, and you would do that by adding in water. So you'd put an OH on this side and on
So
this
the enzyme
side.
is just water?
Nope.
Because I've never really gotten enzymes and how.
Oh man, David missed our last unit. Oh, that's so sad. So an enzyme has a special shape and it'll come in and it'll stress this bond enough.
Wouldn't it cost more energy to make an enzyme than it would be using it?
Well, it would, except that an enzyme can be used 1,000 times.
Oh.
So you
Okay,
can,
so it can be reused?
yep, used over and over and over
well,
again.
I didn't know that, so now it actually makes sense.
All right, super. Okay, so anyway, you have an enzyme that will break these things down. So here's an example of a breakdown of starch. So if you break these bonds, now you have glucose.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd have a whole bunch of glucoses from them. Here's a better picture of it. Here is a disaccharide. If you break this bond, you would have an O. You'd add an H to it. And then over here, you'd add an OH. These would be from water. There's a special enzyme that will break that down. And you end up with these two different monosaccharides. So you go from disaccharide to monosaccharide, monosaccharide. Here's an example of fats. This is a triglyceride. So glycerol is here, and it has 3 fatty acids connected. So you have an enzyme that breaks it here, and here, and here, and you get glycerol, and you get your 3 fatty acids.
Mm.
So here is a better picture of that. Here's glycerol. The fatty acids, it says C17 because I'm too lazy to draw all of the carbons, and then all the hydrogens that stick to them, so that are bonded to them. So carbon, if I wanted to draw this out right, I would draw 17 of these, which I'm not going to bother to do because it'll take too long. And then the H's just go on either side. So I would draw H's,
Oh my
H's,
gosh.
H's. I don't have room on the other side, but H,
35 H's.
blah, 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 blah. So anyway, if you break this bond and this bond and this bond, then you will end up getting glycerol and fatty acids. And again, the C17 means you have to write 17 carbons and 35 H's
It's a
around
lot of
them.
energy
It is, it is, it is. Okay, here's protein digestion.
on a molecular level.
Yeah. So you've got, if you remember this at all, you've got, let's see, how does that work? So here's carbon, here's the R group, here's an H that would be sticking out of it, here's a carbon, double bond to O to OH, and this one would be a nitrogen group. So here's an amino acid, and here's another amino acid, and here's another amino acid, and here's another. So they differ in their R groups. That R group is different from that R group, which is different from that R group. And this R group is just H, so that's different. And that's different from this R group. Every time I draw a line, that's a different amino acid. So there's enzymes that will break that amino acid off of the next one. And so here they all are, all those little amino acids. And the blue things again are those R groups that make one amino acid different from another.
Mm.
And so here's a close-up picture of it. Here's the nitrogen, carbon, here's the R group, carbon with an O. Here's a different amino acid, nitrogen, carbon, carbon with an O. Here's the R group that's different. And so if you break that bond there, it's called a peptide bond. And if you break it, you're going to get 2 amino acids. Put an OH on there and an H, and we are set. So this was broken apart.
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to see that for some reason.
OH. Here's nucleic acids, and we're breaking them here. So there's an enzyme that will break that apart, and you'll end up with nucleotides. So for all of these, we're going from the polymer, a polynucleotide or a nucleic acid, down to a monomer. So that's how your body deals with, whoa, why did it,
No.
do you want to add your drawings? No. Anyway, I press buttons sometimes. Okay, so anyway, you're bringing polymers down to monomers for every one of these examples. And that's what your body does with food. Quiz time. Let's see if David was paying attention.
Oh,
David really is supposed to be in bed right now, right, David?
maybe.
Yeah. Okay, lipids are broken down into what building blocks? Ooh, let's see, because he missed the beginning.
I did.
I think I woke him up.
Fatty acids.
Oh, he's so good. Fatty acids and glycerol, good. Carbs, carbohydrates are broken into what building block?
Amino acids.
Nope, that's proteins.
Nucleic acids.
That's nucleic acids, DNA, RNA. So this is protein. This is DNA. Sorry.
Nucleotides, then, I guess.
Nope, this is also the thing that makes up DNA. Here's the monomer of DNA. Here's the polymer of DNA. I should make him do all these videos, huh? Carbohydrates. Building block is also another name for building block is monomer. Does that help?
Oh. Yeah, I thought.
Sorry. A building block is like if you have a kid. I think that word's easier, but my students always mess that up too. I'm sorry. So a little kid playing with building blocks, you can picture your little brother with the building blocks. Put all those building blocks together. You get a polymer.
Yeah.
Okay, so the building blocks are monomers. So try again. There's only 2 left.
It's the monosaccharide.
It's the monosaccharide.
Actually, it was the fatty acids.
It's not. Don't confuse me. I'm just joking. Okay, proteins are broken down into what building blocks? And again, I should say monomer here. Proteins are broken down into what monomer?
Okay,
This is a tricky one. It really is. I wish they were called monopeptides, but they are not. What a silly name.
Nucleotides?
Nah, that's the DNA RNA
Okay, right,
thing.
that's amino acids then.
It is, good. So proteins are broken into amino acids. Nucleic acids are broken down into what building blocks? So again, what's the
Nucleic
monomer?
acids?
No, that's the polymer.
Oh,
But it's
I
the
just saw
right,
nucleic, so I was like, okay.
you have the right class of stuff, but you gave me the polymer.
Nucleotides?
I want the monomer. Good. Nucleotides. Good. Nucleotides
Oh
are
no, you
broken down
changed some
into
stuff. Okay.
nucleotides are broken down into what? Amino acids, nucleic acids, fatty
Nucleic
acids, or
acids.
sugar phosphate base.
No,
Be careful.
nucleotides. Oh,
What are nucleotides
right.
made out of?
They're the monomers, so it must be sugar phosphate
It is.
base.
Excellent. These are those complex. This thing itself is the monomer, the complex monomer, which is made out of sugar phosphate base.
This is the monomer made of monomers.
Yeah, this is the monomer made of other. It is. It's sort of a monomer made of
It's
three
monomerception.
other things. Yeah, it is. All right, digestive system organs. The GI tract or the gastrointestinal tract digests and absorbs food. You know what? This is 16 minutes. Oh shoot, I'm not supposed to go that long.
It's fine.
No, it's not.